Awesome. Then disregard that last little bit. I actually pressed pause pretty quickly, so I can't even really tell what I'm looking at here on the screen. Is that a pen? Is that a couple of pens that it's like laying? I see Yale. I see the word Yale. Oh, Yale, pro-con. Okay, got it. Oh, yes. So this episode may very well get us closer to finding out whether John Cabrera is correct in his theory that Rory will choose Yale in order to appease her grandfather.
They'll have to find out.
Yep.
This is exciting.
You might go to community college. We don't know.
All right. So I am, as always, starting the recording, and we are recording. And now I'm going into the Remarkist app, into this episode, and the episode is called A Tale of Poes and Fire. I have no idea what that means, but it sounds awesome.
So good.
Everybody, you all know the drill. We're going to all hit the play button on our remotes at the same time on the count of 3. 1. Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry. My headphones. Forgot my headphones.
Do you have the Remarkist app timer as well?
Yeah. I said I was going to the Remarkist app. We're good to go.
Sorry, I was recording, so I missed a little.
Okay.
Are you on Instagram?
I am on Instagram. We're all good. All right. We're going to do this on the count of 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
The best shirt. I always wonder how much Kirk owes in IRS taxes with all these multiple businesses. I don't think he probably kept up with things top notch.
Well, I mean, he didn't go to jail.
There's no way he's saying that this is a job.
I think he has to make a sale first.
Very true.
I love that she just called her our Rory. It always makes my heart smile.
Awkward. He's never hugged a person before. Well, at least not
So
tried.
It was so sweet.
Do not mock my pro-kindness.
You know, just working at Walmart was like the most relatable thing I had with him.
He clearly had a goal to just sustain himself and move forward, but
obviously they got sideways.
Did you notice that when they were doing the pro-con list, they said that Harvard had the smallest size classes, but on the episode when they visited Harvard, the classroom was huge.
Humongous.
Well, it's a
continuity.
has both small and bigger rooms. It depends on what kind of class it's going to be.
Very
Yeah, if they're gen eds, they're usually a lot bigger because they're trying to get like a ton of kids through them.
Oh,
So that mostly with the general education credit rather than like, you know, a more focused course.
That's how college was for me. Like when it came to like lectures and stuff like that, we had like a huge room, but when it came to like just general like English 101, or I took astronomy, it was like just a normal classroom.
Yeah, chef that paranoid about a clean kitchen is gonna let a cat in there. Doesn't compute.
No, it does not. Especially since they like to get into everything.
I always tell people the spider story.
Ugh, I would have killed the thing.
This is a very funny episode, Igor.
Oh God.
Just what you want to hear when you're going to an inn.
If someone said that to me being a part of this society, I'd be like, hell yeah, man. Thanks for supporting me.
Yeah, but he wasn't in the society.
I miss that.
She's not good at this.
Not all Trekkies are freaks.
I relate to Lorelai so much in this situation.
I'm kind of Trekkie.
I'm a dork all around.
Look at Jess in his little blue vest.
He makes that vest look good, you know.
Oh yeah. Yes, yes.
This is so interesting.
So
Not
what
expected at all for the series.
This kind of bothers me in a way, like the duck speaking thing, where Luke wants to be supportive. Obviously, he's providing everything, but anytime something actually happens, he like belittles him, and it's like no wonder Jess kind of like deflects.
I don't think he's belittling him. I think that's just like how their relationship is. He is, in fact, proud of them.
You.
He's from another generation, also. Like he's Luke. He has all these birds, and you know. I get that idea, but just I don't know, personally speaking, or all of you here, like if someone just said that to you and pinched your cheek, would you not feel good?
I would.
No, it's
Maybe depends.
I don't get much praise, so.
yeah, my family
Showing a lot of support by showing up. I like how the humor changes as Rory ages because it gets more mature.
I can't stop thinking about how she said the line "go to the ghetto." Like, it's such a weird way of saying that.
Lorelai's hair looks great here.
I was just thinking that Luke's hair does not look super great here.
I was actually going to say the opposite of both those things. I was going to say, I like Luke's hair. I'm not crazy about the straight on Lorelai. I'm way more for the curls.
Me too.
I don't like
this.
I'm with John on this. I
don't like
like John.
Nicole's hair.
I mean,
The random lady in the background,
Longer
Lorelai
hair.
has really great hair too.
Man, what's
You
going
mean
on
Miss
with
Patty?
Nicole? What's going on with Nicole here, folks?
No, there's a lady way in the back.
that's why I say ick.
But yeah, Nicole's hair.
I love Patty.
Do we, though? Do we all know it?
I feel nothing.
I mean, just even lines like that tell you it's not going to be Harvard.
I once had to listen to this poem. Let me tell you, I fell asleep.
I think Nicole must feel the same as Rachel
Next
did
quote.
towards Lorelai. Oh, sorry.
Oy.
This is what hell looks like.
There's a few other things.
Man.
I go to
Nicole.
hell, man. Like, it doesn't seem so bad.
Might be like controversial, but I do like Lindsay.
I love Lindsay. She's like a wonderful person.
I have
Well,
no feeling.
Up until a point.
Kirk's shirts are 80% off now.
What's to like about Lindsay? Just curious, because she just seems very vanilla. Like, it's not hateful or likable. She just seems very just there.
We should probably save that discussion for post because it seems like it's a loaded question.
This is very funny when they are saying this stuff, the post.
That guy has definitely been, the really tall guy, he's definitely been in like a bunch of other TV shows.
Oh
I
yeah,
know him
he's
from
like
The Guild.
Yeah, the Guild. I will admit, he's a very good Among Us player.
Oh, better word.
I think I don't like Lindsay because, in a way, I feel bad for her. I don't know.
That's awesome. I love this. Dean's College found.
Yeah.
Hey, Robert Lee.
That's so weird. As soon as Dean left the scene, I got a tweet from Jared Padalecki pop up on my screen. Oh my gosh.
Me too.
Oh, looks good. I love his hair like this.
I love his hair. It looks great. Kind of Caesar cut.
He looks good. It's good, but it makes him look older.
I'm wearing a button of him right now from this episode.
I think it's the leather jacket that seems out of character. Like, I don't know if the Luke Diner Luke would actually own a leather jacket.
He's also limping?
Maybe she bought it for him when she bought the other stuff.
Do you see all of that like really white light that was coming in from the sides of the camera? Those are the working lights, like the the lights from the scene. And they caused a flare.
Also, the times, Matrix is really big. Maybe it was like, we got to just fit leather in, man. Make it work.
And it works for Luke.
Here.
Freaking Kirk.
It's like a little insight into the character that he's just constantly thinking about what his next career could be and how to get into it.
That white cordless phone must have been the most popular one because it's in so many sitcoms, so many shows. I had them. Like, what the heck?
Yeah.
If they were
Somebody's
Warner Brothers
obvious
shows,
phone.
if they were Warner Brothers shows, it might have been the actual phone card.
Guys,
The Poe behind her looks very angry.
Julio was
Like,
background talent.
Michelle in jeans, though.
What she said, planes, trains, and automobiles.
I think the exact same thing every time she says that.
I mean, isn't it a reference to that?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it is.
And that's also a great movie.
Michelle's talking to the Cheshire Cat, but that was the hotel or the inn they stayed at when they went to Harvard. Isn't that kind of hard to find rooms for the people?
I always wonder that too.
I think that this part also, it's very rude of Lorelai to just assume that she can use Luke.
Oh, absolutely.
Agreed.
But she knows that he's never going to turn her down.
But also it's kind of like a fantasy of efficiency, like, you know, I don't know.
Wait, wasn't Michelle calling the Cheshire Cat in to look for a job, not rooms?
Yes.
Yeah, but he was caught.
That was the joke.
Yeah, he was told to call there too, though.
Okay.
I know it should make me laugh so much, but every time when Luke says, I'm an island, every time, bust.
Do you think in the stream after that?
Yes.
Luke's gonna love that.
There's a Wapple computer, Mary.
Her greeting makes me laugh every single time.
That voice.
I like just watching Michelle's facial expressions. They're awesome.
I love when she does that. We got caught. Ooh, we got caught. Can you imagine staying in Babette's house with all the low door frames and tiny whatevers?
And like eating oatmeal.
I'd rather stay at Babette's than Mrs. Kim's or Taylor's.
I would like to hang out with Taylor.
Look at Michelle's face.
Pretty sure that's not even an Apple computer.
The way
but I
that-
love that you mentioned
It
the
is.
By the way, the way that Sally delivered numlock, it sounded like Sally herself might have not exactly known what numlock was.
That's probably true. I've heard of several interviews, and I love her to death, but I agree 100%.
So you know how, like, Dwight asked Lorelai to water his lawn, and someone asked why didn't Babette do it, and I said she probably said no. That is why Because I don't believe she would know how to operate that difficult sprinkler system if she doesn't know how to operate a computer.
Our Rory did.
One thing that confused me about this saying one of you has been accepted to Harvard, to me, kind of creates like almost an animosity towards the students in this class. I always thought it was kind of a weird announcement.
I agree with that 100%.
At my high school graduation, we were told how many students in our school was accepted to Harvard. I don't think it was animosity. It was kind of like bragging about how great the school was.
Really? Oh, I want to know more about that later, Mary.
Same.
I just really can't believe that there is like people that have like flags of their like Harvard and stuff like that. It's just like mind blowing to me.
I agree. Like there's the ideas and stuff, but the fact that someone could devote their child life projection towards it so deeply really blows my mind too.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me that Paris has such a tiny bed. Like, I'm sure it's just for the shot, but I don't know. With all she talks about with their nanny and everything, just always pictured her having like this massive bed and room.
Rory's bed is also very small, actually.
That's an old-timey thing that I would like to touch more on the after show thing, but it's a thing for traditional furniture.
Paige?
Careful with your mic when you're not speaking.
That's insulting.
Priceless.
Look at all those trophies on that thing on the left.
They said my name.
The shirt.
That's a Kirk shirt he's wearing, right?
Yeah, both of them. The kid and the father.
Weren't they like 80% off? That's a steal, my friend.
And that's a tiny bed, you see?
That was the bed I had growing up. It was a bed that size.
Oh.
I did too, but I always just thought of Paris as being wealthy and therefore having a large room with a large bed that would need to fit in it to make the room look
John, listen.
It's like a four-poster.
I love that Lorelai really did come over her own hangups on Harvard and just listen to her child.
Totally. Yeah, that arc about the colleges and Lorelai's feelings about it has really developed nicely.
Well, Lorelai, there's a lot of scenes in the first few seasons where she almost is the child, whereas Rory is the mother. And this is kind of like this pivotal point where Rory does need a mother. And I feel like Lorelai steps up and is that level head.
Yeah, very much so.
And she didn't do it to appease her grandfather.
Well, you don't think that was a part of it?
It may have been a slight thing, like following in her grandfather's footsteps, and she looks up to him so much, but I don't think it was really the main reason.
Well, let's talk about that afterwards.
She just sent them upstairs to their bedroom, but isn't only Lorelai's bedroom upstairs and the other couple's already in it?
No, the other couple.
The other Rory's room.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, never mind.
The only bathroom in that house is upstairs near Lorelai's room. That's why they were up there.
Downstairs too.
No, that got turned into a closet.
It's across from the closet, the bathroom that's downstairs. That's the one that, never mind, can't speak about it yet.
Yeah, I know what you are going. I was going to say that too. There's no bathroom at this point, I guess. Later on.
No, because the Max went in and Lori was worried about her stuff hanging up in there in the downstairs bathroom, and he came out from a shower from in there.
I would just like to say that Stars Hollow looks a lot like the town I went to college, like walking around there at night.
I just want her to scream Stella.
There you go.
I forget she really does it. She was born bonkers.
And what's awesome is that building is completely empty. So they just had like a stairway or a ladder or something that just allowed that actress to stick her head out the window.
That's pretty freaky. I still can't get over how Lane, I forget her name right now, is the actual actress because she's Lane in my head, was an actual adult. Keiko,
yeah.
Keiko.
I was the same age as her.
And she's from Hawaii. Because she's what, like in her mid-20s here?
The series started, she was 27.
When the series started, she was 27, correct? So she would be 29.
Dang, I envy aging this well.
She called young Chu's girlfriend Waspy.
I like the carousel horse in the back.
Uh-oh.
Is that a gun?
Nope.
It's like a globe.
It's a bat.
Oh, a baseball bat.
It's for cricket,
No, it's
a
cricket
cricket.
club.
which hurts way worse.
She could get back. He gave him a globe.
Great.
This is my favorite scene.
Even Luke has like very cute lamps.
How did Rachel and Luke or Luke and Nicole share that bed?
There's no room for them, but obviously they made it work.
If this is Connecticut, they might have AC in that house.
It's an apartment, so they may have central air, but in old buildings like this, probably not.
Because I've been to Connecticut, and I did not wear long sleeves to bed.
The fact that Lorelai could appreciate in the moment herself, saying like, "This is not what I expected, but I handled it," I think is pretty cool. It shows like that she's emotionally stable, you know, because that is a very heavy thing she went through, and she did handle it.
Ooh.
Well, of course.
All right. Well, this story definitely, I'm not getting on Nicole for her behavior now after hearing this.
No, it's understandable.
Yeah, but for Nicole, just wait.
Ooh.
Here we go.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Well, this is awkward.
Oh, but he looks so
This
happy
is
though.
so weird.
He does look happy.
But Luke looks very good here too.
So adorable.
Whoa.
This will be after party talk for sure.
Oh yeah.
Luke's muscles, yeah. I'm kidding.
That too.
Oh, I'm keeping my thoughts to myself right now.
At this point, Rory's shirt right now, I'm sorry, is hideous. Like, what was that? That was an afterthought.
This is a cool scene.
That's not terrifying at all.
That's a great gift.
He's giving her the bird.
Literally.
I love the look Luke gives her.
But the smile afterwards.
That background looks like a stage. But it's very pretty.
All right, so we're moving into dragonfly territory, I guess.
Isn't that sad?
Oh wow.
Yeah. I think that's probably why at first Lorelai handled it so well, because she probably thought it maybe wasn't as bad.
Suki's face killed me.
So was the Independence Inn and Dragonfly Inn on the same stage? Like they were the same?
No. What do you mean?
Wait, who did this? Who put the Yale stuff up?
It's probably Lorelai.
Lorelai.
I'm sure she did it herself. Yeah, but
Such a great shot of Lorelai.
I think everyone in the town probably helped out with the Yale stuff up on the wall, because how was she going to come up with all that, all this other stuff is going on. Everyone probably came together for it.
That's awesome.
Look at that shirt.
That's the
Yeah.
shirt I
Is that a
got.
Kirk shirt? But it says Yale. That's so cute.
with Rory's goes to Yale.
Kurt clearly made that shirt.
I've never seen this part. That's awesome.
That was a nice episode.
Oh yeah.
That was really great. Okay, before we dive in, let me open up the couch, get some folks up here to chitter chat with us.
that Lala at the end.
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
Sad
I was gonna
Lala.
ask Carl, how does that one rate for you?
Oh, that's one of my top 5 for sure.
Oh, by the way, Kathy Ann said that she's not staying for the post show, but she'll be back in the morning.
Right. Okay, so who put those Yale things up there?
Lorelai must have.
Lorelai.
Yeah,
Lorelai.
Lorelai. She did herself.
I think
Lorelai did.
Lorelai for sure. It was showing her support.
Absolutely.
And then Kirk made those shirts, obviously.
Kirk was hired to put up all the stuff. Yeah,
I think-
perhaps West Kirk.
I think she did it herself. I think there's a gap there, and she winds up getting it, or even her grandparents. Well, actually, no, too early.
She just looks sort of surprised by it all. She looks like it doesn't seem like somebody's walking in looking at the thing that they put up. It seems like looking at something that they didn't expect to be there. But maybe that's how I interpreted it. But that's what it looks
Rory's surprised, but
Lorelai
went
That's what I mean.
this overnight.
You think Lorelai did it overnight?
Yeah,
Lorelai
overnight.
It was-
Totally.
But here's my question though: did Lorelai already or did they already decide she's going to Yale before, or was that sort of Lorelai's way of saying
With
you're going
the
to Yale?
pro-con list, it kind of decided Yale, because remember that scene where she was like, Yale, it's Yale. Type thing.
I think
Right.
Rory is
Yeah,
such a people pleaser, especially to her mother, that she wanted to please her, and she thinks that her mom expected Harvard 100%, so she couldn't say, "Mom, I really want or Yale." So I think that was Lorelai's support, saying it's okay to want something different.
And Rory's objection was like, how can I go to Yale with my wall like that? So Lorelai's like, don't worry about the wall now has Yale.
Got it.
And she's
Okay.
making up for that.
Although
Right.
Now I'm sure it was Kirk.
Lorelai told Luke she had to be up at like 6 a.m. and she couldn't go to the inn yet, so maybe she got up at 6 a.m. to go back to the house and do it before Rory went back to change.
I think,
yeah.
The couple
Yeah.
sleeping in
Yeah.
Rory's room.
Well, they were at Luke's.
Yeah, they were at Luke's at the time.
if Lorelai could have got up and drove to the Yale place and just bought a bunch of stuff, because that's where you would find it, and then come back and do it really quick.
Or just by TV magic, it just magically appeared there. And
Because I know there's that in the back.
What if it just remains a mystery? Like nobody knows who did it.
Maybe Emily and
That would
Richard
be nice.
did a lot of Yale memories.
If it's a mystery, it was Kirk.
And
well,
I feel like this. I feel like
The intent was just handing off the torch of, you make your decision, child. God bless.
we can't involve the grandparents there because that would be spoilers.
I feel like this kind of scene is just such an important part though for like the evolution of like Lorelai's character, that she is, supporting this different thing for Rory, even though it's like kind of against like what she wants, maybe represents Lorelai's relationship with her parents.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, speaking of like with Rory's, character progression, and also like with Lorelai's character progression and like Rory's big choice, like I really, really liked this episode. Because I know that like before we all started it, everyone was like, oh yeah, that's like one of my top favorite episodes. Like, this is the episode that I love. And I mean, I could totally see why, because the whole town's involved with the inn being burned down. Lorelai is going to be making a major life decision. Like, the things that have been constant are starting to change. And there's like little clues that are telling us what's going to happen next in the series. And yeah, and of course, like the Poes, that whole pole thing.
Yeah.
By far funny.
I really liked the episode. I'd say it's of all of the episodes this season, it's in the top half for sure.
Yeah,
It doesn't
it's a
touch.
fan
It
favorite too.
It doesn't touch last episodes for me. Like last episode was my favorite.
The big
I
one?
think. Yeah.
So
I just
good.
love that episode, every bit of it. But this was a really fantastic episode and so fun with all the town stuff and, you know, getting some Babette in there. You know, I always love my Babette.
That
And
scene between Babette and Miss Patty and Michelle, that should happen more often. It was
yeah, it really should. It really should. We just need more of that.
It's always good to have the town episodes.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
what did you think about Lorelai telling Luke the dream?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I'm sort of feeling that we should save that for a second. Maybe talk about like any little like easy stuff because I feel like that's the biggest thing I want to talk about.
I like to
Yeah,
say,
okay.
okay, so let's
Yeah.
make
So-
Sasha happy. How do you feel about what's going on with Jeff and the whole Walmart storyline?
Well, wait.
Wait, are you asking
before
me?
we do that, how close do you think the pros and cons were between Harvard and Yale?
Very close.
I think they were.
No, I don't. I think there was a huge difference. And
Well,
I think that's
quite
why
long.
Lorelai says there is.
All right, wait. I'm gonna do a mic flash on this one. Flash your mics if you think it was the pros and cons were like what it was like a very close margin. Okay, how many of you think it was pretty firmly Yale? Oh darn. Because then of course my next thing was going to be, do you think that Richard was on that list? And if you said, of course, yes, because he definitely was, then of course my prediction would have been correct, because had he not been, it would have probably gone over to Harvard. But that isn't the way it goes. I unfortunately was incorrect. She did not go to Yale because
You had
of her grandfather.
You had 50-50 there. She went to Yale, just not to.
Okay, so the Jeff stuff.
It's fair to say though that it was a contributing factor though.
Oh yeah, it was a contributing factor. But
can
the
I
only
share-
way that it becomes, in order for me to actually get that theory right, it would have to be that without that she would go to Harvard. But that's
Yeah,
I don't
can
think
I
that
share
I don't
one?
think that that's what it. I would agree with all those who flashed the mic that it was not close, that it was so clearly Yale, and that would make more sense that Lorelai would put all of that stuff up on the wall if she did that, because if it was close, I think she would have probably backed off and been like, you know, you got to make your decision here. Let me know what you think. But because it was so overwhelmingly Yale, it was so clear that the only reason why Harvard is because of this big Harvard illusion that she like put into her head, and that Lorelai probably realized she may have contributed to and whatnot. So it makes more sense to me that that Yale was just the absolute obvious choice. But guess what? It means that she's going to Yale, everyone. We're going to get Yaleys. I mean, I'm excited for this.
I want to go to Yale too.
I
So
saw
that's-
Sabrina flashing
Sabrina's
down.
flashing down at the
Yeah.
bottom.
But you also
Yeah.
asked me a question too. But I'll
Can
wait.
I just like jump in with one more thing?
Yeah,
before we-
Sabrina.
Well,
hit
no,
it.
I said I'd wait.
Go ahead, Sabrina. Oh, okay. So one thing I wanted to add to that is that I think the people that it's very common actually with parents to kind of like a kid will come up with something and it's just the dream that they have in their head for so many years. And I think that I felt very represented in that. Like I wanted to go to Stanford and then I wound up not liking any of the people or kind of the very pushy attitude of like everyone trying to apply to all of like the big Ivy League schools. It was really weird. So like changing my mind on that, it was like a really big deal. And I think that is very well represented. Like parents really kind of buy into things that their kids say sometimes if they're like saying it for so long, if that makes sense. It's like hard to get out of that illusion.
It makes complete
Yeah.
sense.
Before we get into like the bigger discussions, I just wanted to say that, you know, we've talked before about the girls having the like kind of parallel lives going on. And I just wanted to kind of point out, I don't know if anybody else saw that, but like you had the parallel of Lindsay like being really rude, and then you have the parallel of
like Nicole like being really nasty too to Lorelai.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I just wanted to point that out.
It makes you wonder if Dean talked about Rory the same way that Luke talks about Lorelai.
I think everyone knew that.
Yeah.
Which I think perfectly segues into a question that Amanda posed into the group earlier when we were watching, like, what is the feelings from everyone about Lindsay? Because we hear rumblings about some people not liking her, some people feel indifferent towards her. So I'll just let Amanda ask the question since it was hers, but yeah.
I really like Lindsay. I mean, I can't say too much about it, obviously, but she has a few things about her, but I think probably most of the gripes people have with her are things she does that are mostly justified. But as a whole, I do really like her, and I'm excited for you, John, to see like this character. But you know, she's fine. She's great. You know, she's a good character. I don't like her because of what happens in season 4, and I can't say too much. But
no spoilers. No spoilers.
Oh yeah, I'm not spoiling. I'm just.
I know,
saying,
but even talking about season 4, now I'm in my head about like what does she do in season 4?
Well, then I can't really say why I don't like her.
So talk about what you don't like.
So what we do, I think what's better is for us to just like analyze like who is she now, like here, do our best to try and put out, you know, anything that we know is coming. I'd say from what I've seen so far,
now, basically.
Yeah, what I've seen so far, she seems fine. I don't feel like the writers are, you know, because she's clearly not as witty and certainly doesn't have the snark of the two main characters of the show who we're supposed to love. And yet it doesn't seem like the writers are writing the Lindsay character, like it doesn't feel like the writing is judging the Lindsay character. It's not like they're making her sound stupid. It's that, you know, she's just standing there just like listening to them and like, I don't get you, but whatever. You know, like it's just, and I think that's fine. I think that works.
Yeah, going off of what we've seen of Lindsay so far, I don't like her. I don't like this, but you know, I also have an indifference to her. All I can get out of the Lindsay we know of right now is she's a very stand by your man type of girl. And that's cool.
But what don't you think you like about her? I'm curious.
Because like she's a rebound and you can feel that. Like at this point.
Yeah, but that's not her fault. But that's not her fault.
No, that's not her fault. But
that's not why I don't like her.
You can well, in my case, that's why, because I can like empathize with that situation, let's say. So I feel like, dude, why you do that to yourself? I don't know. That's my point of view. Yeah.
That she knows she's a rebound and yet she's
maybe she doesn't know it, but she ends up like, you know, falling for this guy that at the end, I mean, we don't know what's gonna happen, but you can always like see this interaction between Rory and him, and it's like it's never over.
Carl, why? Carl, you said that's not the reason why I don't like her.
Okay.
At this stage, at this stage, it seems that you're like, I don't really like her even at this stage. I'm just curious, like, why?
Oh, just because she's rooted to the Gilmore Girls, and I love the Gilmore Girls. It's a very
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, you know, the writing is designed for that, so I get that.
I really like Lindsay at this point because so she's been in the high school. She knows about the relationship between Dean and Rory, and she's like a typical 16, 17-year-old where she's going to have insecure feelings about that after having witnessed Dean and Rory together.
Right. The last episode, while they're at the ice skating rink, Dean waves to Rory the second he sees her. So I wouldn't be surprised if he does indeed talk about their friendship, and she's probably jealous.
That's what I was gonna say. I think that the writers just wrote her kind of very insecure to probably reflect that she, you know, he was probably talking a lot about her and she recognized they had a history.
What's interesting about that is what I really love about that is that by by telling us that about Luke and Lorelai in regards to Nicole, they've sort of, without needing to tell us that about Lindsay and Dean, you're absolutely right. There's no question about it. And that scene with Lorelai and Luke, where Lorelai is explaining why you don't do that, gives me more insight into why Lindsay would be feeling this way, because now I'm absolutely sure that Dean has mentioned her a bunch. But that all makes me like her more. That makes me feel like oh, I totally sympathize with this character. Like,
Yeah.
the Nicole character, for example, the way she was acting at that, I was like, oh man, like maybe I
Little
spoke too
icy.
soon about how I feel about her. But then when I heard the conversation, what Luke was doing, I was like, oh my gosh, I feel bad for Nicole, like that she had to listen to that.
I feel bad
Yeah.
for Nicole too. Like when they're talking, when Luke is on the phone with Nicole, he doesn't tell Nicole that Lorelai is there, and that kind of speaks volumes to the kind of boyfriend Luke is going to be, and that kind of mirrors Jess, where telling little fibs is okay or leaving out the truth.
Well, he didn't want to start a fight with her, because it would have been a fight saying that Lorelai is sleeping at my house.
Yeah, so why start something when there's nothing to start?
Because she was there, and as his girlfriend, she kind of deserves the respect, I think, to know that she was there.
I gotta agree with you there, Sabrina. He probably should have mentioned it. He did mention
Like,
the input on
How would it be a
Yep.
trouble just mentioning that, like, my fellow business owner had a fight or a fire and she's staying here? Like, I don't understand how that could have been a bad thing to the relationship.
Yeah, I think it would have been.
I don't think I would have liked to hear that a woman that my boyfriend wouldn't shut up about was staying at his apartment. Like, I think that would bother me.
For sure.
But you'd rather be
100%. 100%.
Find out
Nicole
later.
should have been given the
house. She could
chance
have-
to
girlfriend.
feel that. Like, she could have invited Luke to come stay with her for the night if she didn't feel
Something like
comfortable with them together.
Right.
It is a complicated, very
I think-
complicated situation.
I think
There's
when
no
you're
question.
transparent, though, it's silly, because if you were to just say Lorelai is staying here with me tonight because there was a fire at the inn, like there's a very slim chance an affair is going to happen because you're literally being forthcoming about the situation at hand.
Yeah, but I don't think that that's what he would be worried about. I think that he would be worried about how it would just make the relationship between him and Nicole more difficult. We've already been presented with a Nicole that seems very irked by all of this, right? And so while totally it's true, like this, that's a fellow business owner, he's helping out, right? The truth is, it's just not how she's going to feel. She may be able to rationalize that, but that's not how she's going to feel, and he knows that, and he knows that will complicate things. And so for that reason, it makes sense that he wouldn't. I'm not saying that that's good that he doesn't, but I think that it makes sense, and it's the reason why I just think that whole scene is so complicated. That whole situation is so complicated. It was obviously written to be that complicated.
If Luke was uncomfortable in the situation, he should have just got on the phone and called somebody else to take Lorelai in instead of having to leave out that to his
Oh, he was not
girlfriend.
uncomfortable at all.
Yeah, he wasn't
I
uncomfortable.
mean, Jess was there. It's not like something was going to happen with Jess there.
But he was uncomfortable telling Nicole about it.
Or he just didn't really actually think about it because he doesn't think of her as a girlfriend, just a woman that he's dating.
Also, all of that stuff, that the interaction that they have, that is like the most problematic as it would apply to his relationship with Nicole, happens after the call with Nicole. Like all that stuff about the dream, and as of the call with Nicole, it really is just like, my friend Lorelai needs a place to stay. And by the way, my current girlfriend would probably be very cold and very, very cold to me over the next few days if she knew that I was doing that right now. I don't know what the solution is, because I really don't know what the circumstances are in regards to who could take Lorelai in. The way it seemed the way that they were suggesting that all these Poe Society people had been put everywhere that they could possibly be, and that Lorelai really was just walking to the one last person that she had. Although there was that lady in the building next door, maybe she could have asked her instead.
Tasha's blinking lots.
No, but she didn't want to give the key, so.
No key. No key.
Anybody have
Lorelai.
anything?
Let it rip, Tasha.
Oh, thank God.
But Tasha, Tasha, there was a huge gap of air there. You can
I
just type
know,
in.
but whenever I know, but sometimes when I start talking, then other people start talking, and then I'm like, okay, I'll stop.
Just tell us to shut up.
Do you want me to? No, that's rude, and I'd rather not start that.
I know.
Do you want me to comment on what we're currently commenting on, or what? I don't know who said.
Yes, I still have something to say.
Okay, and then I'll chime in once we talk about the whole just Walmart thing. I feel like, here's my thing. I'm very laid back, so this is probably the reason why I have this answer. I feel like when it comes to like being in a relationship, yes, there are things that you should tell your SO, and there's things that need to be told, but like, why make an argument, potential argument over something if you don't need to? So like, I don't know, obviously we don't know what happened after Lorelai stayed there. I don't know, we don't know if Luke like mentioned it to Nicole afterwards, or he just didn't tell her at all. But I feel like it's like no big deal, because like, even though, yes, we all know that Luke has feelings for Lorelai, like it's dormant, but it's there. And he wanted to help her out because they're friends and things like that. But I feel like it was no big deal that he didn't tell Nicole, because why potentially start something if you don't need to? And just like someone else said, Jess was there, so it's not like anything would have happened. And yeah, it was a little weird when Lorelai brought up the dream. She didn't really need to put that in there, because we all saw Luke's face and stuff like that. But I feel like it really wasn't a big deal, because like someone said, like the whole town was chock block full of Poe Society members. Everyone else was booked, and that was literally the only person she had left, or else she would have been like Kirk and slept in the gazebo, which we all know Lorelai, she would not sleep in a gazebo. And so for me, it's not really that big of a deal. Now, if something would have happened, yeah, but not really a big deal. So yeah.
I think it does become a little problematic later in the scene, because I think that I think that whole exchange about the dream, and him trying to know more about the dream, that really speaks to their relationship and how that sort of.
Well, it opens the door to something more.
Yeah, that wasn't really necessary.
Mary, you wanted to chime in?
I was just going to say that I was once given some great advice about when you tell people things, and if you're doing it to relieve your guilt, but all it's going to do is hurt someone else, then it's not worth saying it. And I think that's part of what happened here with Luke. He knew that telling her that Lorelai was here, it's not a big deal that Lorelai is here. Nothing's going to happen between the two of them. And all it would do would hurt Nicole, or make her upset, or make her worry about something that she didn't need to worry about.
Thanks.
I'm with you on this one.
Me too.
So I heard, I left and came back because my internet went out, but I remembered something that I forgot to say last night about I can't remember who mentioned it, sorry. The Dean waved to Rory at the hockey game. When I saw that, one of my first thoughts was Dean actually waving to Rory, or was Dean waving to Lindsay? And
Rory was in the way.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I wondered the same thing.
Well, because Rory was behind her. Because I was thinking about those whole course of scenes, she sees Lindsay, she's like, what's up with her? Then she waves to Dean, possibly thinking Dean's waving to her. And then the next time she sees Lindsay, is with Dean.
Yeah,
I
you're
was
not
like-
alone in thinking that. I've
He
wondered
Oh my
that
gosh,
too.
that's
waving
so
at his
cool.
girlfriend, and she was like, "Yo, you're waving at me, woohoo!" It's like,
Right, because at that point, Lindsay is in front of Rory, a couple rows in front.
Yeah.
He's wearing his Letterman jacket, so it's definitely possible. But Rory assumes that he's waving to her, and she waves back.
because she doesn't know that Lindsay and him are dating.
And
Right.
we don't know either.
That's just
Yeah.
happened to me. That's happened to me several times in my life, where I
It's
thought
so
somebody
awkward.
where I thought somebody was waving at me. I waved at them back, and it wasn't. So I love the idea that this could be a possible thing.
John,
Yeah, because they kind of, I feel like they allude to it a little bit at the end of those scenes, because it's sort of just like, oh, hey, yeah, I have a girlfriend now. And Rory's like very surprised. So you might, like, it makes you start thinking about like everything that transpired beforehand too. So.
Interesting. Do we want to shift over to the Dean and Rory stuff?
I thought we were
Before
doing just homework.
I'm sorry. That's what I meant. Jess and Rory. Thank
Yeah,
you,
if anybody-
thank you for reminding me, Natasha. That is what I meant.
Oh,
I mean, if everyone's done with Dean, I mean, hey, if everyone got their comments in about the whole Luke and Lorelai type thing, I'm down.
Well, I mean, I still want to discuss that last moment. You know,
The
I mean,
dream. I think that's
would-
where the juice we have to get
there's
into.
just so much juice in that. Like,
Oh,
why
yeah.
did she
Then I'm
why
down.
did she do that? You know,
And
like
that's the button I made, was from that scene. I made
why did she do that? Can you? Because I don't know. I don't understand
She-
that. Like,
she
what? Like,
said
can people enlighten me here?
She said that the alarm clock, when Luke was holding the alarm clock, she said that the alarm, that reminds me of
Yeah.
something that I once had.
Yeah, of course, I got that.
And-
But like, why'd she keep going? Why didn't she stop there? Like, she knows what the dream is.
Yeah,
She knows where it's going.
Because she tells Luke everything. It's like her thing with him, and he lets her do
It's like
that.
they're friends, like they're really close friends.
I don't
Yeah,
get that.
but that dream is about how they're not. That dream is about how they're not friends.
Okay,
That
I
dream
feel
is about
good
how they're
about that,
lovers.
I think that's why she thinks it's funny and tells him but I mean, she doesn't obviously tell him that they kiss or anything, because that she holds back, but she tells him the dream, I in my opinion, because she thinks it's funny. Like, she doesn't think of it as something that's actually going to happen.
She tells him that she is pregnant in the dream with his children.
Well,
but
wait.
They talk about the babies, but not the sex.
Mike flashing, please.
Yeah. Let's do some mic flash, folks. Actually, you know what? We're gonna go up. We're gonna go Nikki, then we're gonna go Carl, then we're gonna go Amanda. Nikki.
Yeah, I agree somewhat with Sherry that I think she's partly telling the dream because she thinks it's funny. But I think that there is an underlying tone of jealousy, and she maybe doesn't even realize it yet herself. I mean, we saw how Nicole acted towards her at the Poe reading. And so, you know, I think that probably rubbed her the wrong way a little bit. And then the fact that, you know, when she has nowhere to go, nowhere to sleep, where is she going? She heads to Luke's. And, you know, and there's not even a hesitation. He's like, yep, come on up. And, you know, and she's in his bed. And so I think, you know, we keep seeing all these little hints that, you know, could something be brewing between the two of them. And so I think it's just always underlying there.
But Rory is the one who actually told her to go to Luke's because every place else was packed.
Well, she knows Luke's is a safe place for her mom to go, and that her mom is like super stressed and probably doesn't want to stay with some like random like creepy neighbor dude that lives next door because she has nowhere to go. So she's like, go to Luke's because you'll feel safe and at ease, and you'll wake up like refreshed, able to deal with this fire.
And there's coffee.
happening in your business.
Yeah. Yeah, and to go off of what Nikki said, I like that Nikki brought up that there's probably like some underlying jealousy within Lorelai that she may not even know about Luke being with Nicole, because if I remember correctly, wasn't there a little bit of jealousy within Lorelai, like not an obnoxious amount, but just a tiny smidge when Rachel came in, and then they kind of like became good friends, and then Rachel was like, "Look like you."
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I mean, okay, this is why I'm so glad y'all say yes, because then this confirms my point that Gilmore Girls, for me, like the first 5 seasons are like perfect bingeable seasons, because things will happen so far back, like with Lorelai in that dream. That was what, like season 1, episode 1, the first scene of, I mean, season 3, episode 1, the first scene of season 3. And then we're like at season 18 with the inn burning down, that she finally mentions it to Luke when Luke is finally in a relationship with a woman, Nicole. It's like, okay, you knew that it was an off dream not to share it with Luke. And then he mentions that there's a problem between him and Nicole about you. And then because you saw the alarm clock thing, you tell him the dream. It's like, okay, like binge watching it, it's like, okay, we're connected the dots here.
Yeah, and by the way, from like a writing perspective, that was figured out during the summer.
Mm-hmm.
The writers knew that first scene, because of course they arced out most of the season during the summer, like just like roughly outlined what was going to happen. They kind of had a sense for like where things would fall roughly episode wise, and then they focused on those first few episodes before going into casting and hiring directors and all that stuff, right? So they already knew that first episode was going to begin with that scene. So they likely already had on their big board of the whole season, they had somewhere on the board, and she tells him. And it was probably very late in the season on the board.
And that right there, that's good writing.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of shows,
for sure, yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I love that. What's even more impressive is when you see that across seasons, like where you see something planted in like an early season and there's a payoff like 4 seasons later. They've already done a little bit of that. Like they did that in the flashback episode with Lorelai, where they did things in the scene that had already been referenced in conversation about her when she was pregnant, which, I mean, it's just very impressive. Amanda, and then we'll go to Sabrina, and then we'll go to Tasha.
Well, the way that I always took that scene was that she told him he's in a relationship now, and so they're not as close as they once were. And I always took it as she was trying to gauge, like subconsciously gauge where he's at, like trying to figure out where he is emotionally, judging by how interested he would be to hear the details of the dream. So I always took it as she told him to try to see, well, I know he's in a relationship, but is he still into me also?
Yeah, which I think plays into this idea that she would be slightly jealous about Nicole, because you'd only do that, especially given the conversation she just had with Luke about Nicole and the fact that Nicole just called. You'd only gauge that and want to know that if a part of you is thinking, I'd be interested, even though I know you have a girlfriend right now. I mean, that's my interpretation of it.
Kind of along the same lines, I feel like Lorelai is trying to hang on to men as backups, like she had Christopher. And then
by the way, really quickly before you move, I actually, this is just a perfect example of like not being able to see. So I said Amanda. I actually hadn't even seen Amanda with the red hair down below flashing. And so I was actually looking at the other Amanda. So it should be, I think, Amanda, Sabrina. But now, Sabrina, why don't you finish speaking and then we go to Amanda after?
Okay, yeah, so as I was saying, is that Lorelai likes to hang on to men. And then because in the first season, she's talking about with Rory, whether or not Rory thinks Luke is cute. So she already knows she has feelings for him a little bit. And then it's brought up again with Rachel. And then Christopher comes into the picture and Max comes into the picture. And whenever they come back into the picture, Lorelai's still like grasping at them. So I feel like she has a need to want every man to want her in a way.
Ooh, that's very interesting.
That's a little unfolding.
That's interesting. I don't know if I disagree with that, or at least a part of that.
That's kind of, I think, what I was kind of feeding off of, which thank you for mentioning it to Amanda. Someone earlier, like a day or two ago, said cartoon Amanda or real Amanda. And it made me laugh because I think that's a different.
Yeah, Sabrina had said that.
I told
Yeah,
Sabrina-
I got a little confused. I went to a big party tonight, so I'm just like a little bit woohoo, you know? So I got a little confused hearing my name over and over.
I mean, well, it's Amanda. It's very common. But as far as the relationship goes with Lorelai, I think from being in years in therapy, it's a trauma response of having to have approval from other people. So I don't think Lorelai necessarily wants to have all these men, you know, bowing towards her, but I think she does seek that validation because she doesn't have that validation from her parents. And so
I can see that.
it seems as simplistic as that, is that it's not necessarily that she's trying to ruin Luke's relationship with his fiance, or I guess at this point the girlfriend. It's just the fact that she just wants to be liked, period.
Yeah,
Yeah, watch those spoilers.
that makes a lot of sense to me. I didn't hear it. I didn't hear a spoiler in there, so maybe I was.
Good.
Maybe I missed one little
Sometimes
detail.
when we don't react, he doesn't realize there's.
I say
Tasha.
Thank you. Okay. And this goes again to like, I'm extremely laid back person, so things don't really bother me as much. So this is just speaks on that. But I feel like Lorelai's been and always will be a very independent person. Like she always has been. She left her parents at 16, 17 because it was 17. Because back in Dear Emily and Richard, Emily said, "Oh, it's the first time in a year she put Rory's stroller away." So she left her house at 17 and then got a job as a maid at the Independence Inn and worked her way up and now is the executive manager. So she's a very independent person and doesn't really ask for help too much. And so I feel like in that sense, I don't know, I may be wrong, but like, I don't think like Lorelai's trying to just cling on to every man and try to claim her like territory or whatever. I just think that like she's very much a lovable person and she just like has that aura about her that like kind of draws men in. I mean, she, like Rory said it best, like when she was hanging out with Dean for the first time, like she does that hair twirl, you have a comeback for everything and you leave a man wondering what the heck just happened type thing. So Lorelai's always been that person that has like that like magnetism about her. So that could be why like all these men.
I don't think it's men
hanging out.
specific. I think it's just literally she realizes she has a talent to be energetic and acceptable. Like she just wants acceptance overall. It's not a bad thing. It's just
Anyway, I think like I don't know. It's just me, and plus like Luke is Luke, and Luke is always going to be like a friend to Lorelai and be the way he always has been, regardless of like who he's with, because he was the same way with Lorelai when he was with Rachel, and he's being the same way at some point with Lorelai when he's with Nicole. So I think like he's really great in that matter, where he doesn't really change himself when he's in a relationship, no matter if he has feelings for Lorelai or not. But
yeah, but I think that the more interesting thing here is that moment isn't instigated by Luke. It's instigated by.
Oh, true.
by
Yeah,
Laura.
the dream
You know what
is
I mean?
not
So it's like
at all.
I think that you could characterize telling Luke a dream about how he was the father of her children, of unborn children, would be a little different than hair twirling. I think that you could characterize it as not really the same as just a person with a bubbly personality that happens to naturally allure men. That
And again,
that seemed deliberate. That seemed just very deliberate, or at least, like, at the very least, it seemed unaware of
the effect
of what a story like that would do to Luke. I
have told my guy friends about dreams before. Like, I just a couple nights ago, I told one of my guy friends, they're like, yeah, like, I had this dream about you. It was a little weird and all sort of stuff. But then again, I'm just a very open person. But.
Should we shift over to Jess?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
First of all, he's beautiful.
Thank you. Wait, who just said that? Who just said that?
Adrian.
Can you tell me that
absolutely adorable. But I
Are
am
you team
so
Jess?
not into him right now.
Adriana, are you team Jess?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Are you?
I just
Yes.
love how that comes just out of nowhere.
It's very
I'm
very
getting
funny.
more. I love it.
All right, who wants?
Are we talking about Walmart?
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
dive in. Let's actually
Can I
dive
start?
a little bit.
Wally World.
Why don't we
Can I start?
dive a little past the looks and go into some of the actual things that happen? Carl, do you want to talk about Walmart?
Oh, okay.
Oh, I just wanted to say that just working at Walmart was like the most relatable thing to him for me. Everything else was like, all right. And then he started working at Walmart. And I was like, where did Walmart come from? You're in Connecticut. And it was just so funny. I was like, my family shops at Walmart and you work there. Ha. But yeah, that was interesting.
Connecticut not have Walmart?
Carl.
I didn't think so.
We do.
Yes, they do. Absolutely.
Yeah, we do.
I didn't think they did at the time, but I was also ignorant and 12.
Oh, it's pretty interesting that you added that comment about how you found just working at Walmart relatable, because I had been watching the show like a couple times through, and I always thought it was sort of like an odd storyline, like why does just work at Walmart of all places, right? But you hear it, like me hearing you say like that was relatable for you, it kind of like made me have like an epiphany of sorts, and I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting now. And so I love that I'm viewing that storyline now from a different perspective. So thanks for that.
No lie, it also kind of made sense to me that Jess works at a Walmart instead of go to school, because I mean, like you said, I could do this stuff in minutes. So he doesn't care about school. He just want to get his money. Like, he had to do a lot of things growing up, as we learned from previous episodes. So it's kind of like, yeah, him working at a Walmart, not going to school was like very understandable.
It didn't seem it didn't seem to, just the employee of the month thing. I guess that not that he couldn't become the employee of the month. For whatever reason, I guess I just couldn't imagine him actually accepting that award.
Well, he
It
accepted
came
it
with
because it had
$200.
$200.
Oh, right.
And
Well,
I
back in the
absolutely love that Luke went there to support him and tease him. I think
Yeah.
it showed such another side of Luke, a loving side of Luke. And I think that made me feel even a little warmer towards Jess, even though Jess was obviously quitting, not necessarily quitting school, but skipping school in order to take all of these extra hours to get this.
Yeah, I agree with Sherry about like the cheating part, especially because I think it was out of love. I didn't see it as condescending. I think some people commented earlier during our watch that they kind of saw it as like condescending of sorts, but I think it just depends on each family, because I know like my family, we kind of communicate that way, and it's out of love at the end of the day. So I think it differs
on how you grew up and like and how each person grew up and you know how they view things. But I think it was a great insight into the relationship that Luke and Jess have, which is one of my favorites throughout the show.
Yeah, 100%, Regina.
Yeah, in my family, if you weren't teased, that means they didn't like you.
Yeah.
I do have
that goes for my family too. My Cuban family is very much all about
my
teasing.
Mexican
I
family
got the
is
Jewish
exactly-
side, so you got the guilt on top of it. And my father was a funeral director, so his sense of humor is ridiculously dry and out there. So if you walked into my home, I could tell you stories, message me somewhere else. If you walked into my home, if my father didn't pick on you, it means don't come back.
I was raised by a single mother. My mom and dad divorced when I was very, very little, but my father didn't live that far from us, and we saw him regularly. But I spent so much time, just in a household of just me, my mom, and my sister, where that was not common, that then when I stepped into my father's sort of Cuban world of teasing and, all that, it actually made me insecure. I wasn't able I wasn't able to handle it as well as like my cousins, for example.
Yeah, us Latinos need thick skin, man. But you've learned, John, because I see you in writing all the time.
No, I've gotten much better at it. I've gotten much better at it.
I think Sasha's been blinking for a minute now.
For longer than a minute. Sasha, do you have anything to say?
My thumb hurts. There we go. So I think like with Jess working more hours than he should and not going to school is very important. Yes, it's extremely important. Getting an education in some way, shape, or form is important, especially high school, because it's easier to go back to college. Pot calling kind of black here because I dropped out and haven't gone back, but it's still always there. Going back to finishing high school is a lot more important in my book, just because you can't exactly just go back to high school whenever you want. You can get your GED, yes, but it's not the same. And so him not going to school, yeah, that's not good, but at the same time, my whole thing is that like, if school is not working for you and you find other avenues that's not like illegal or that's hurting anybody, I feel like, why not? So like, Jess is extremely smart. We all know that. And he can ace those classes easily, as Rory would say. But I feel like, and I can't say too much, but I feel like the way people are acting towards it and making comments, not you guys, but the town, I feel like it's like really none of their business. And if anybody's business, it's between three people. It's Luke, Jess, and Rory. Luke and Jess, because obviously that's the whole basis of why he's back. And then Rory, because she's dating Jess, and you always want your SO to be successful in whatever way that is. And so I feel like
is that a new express? I've never heard that. SO, significant other.
I didn't want to like.
Is that new? I mean, I'm like.
That's
sorry.
mother.
People usually use it in like text, like in like.
Well, I'm using
on the
it
internet.
because like I didn't want to be like gender specific, because I've been.
No, I know. I mean, I know significant other. I just didn't know that we've abbreviated it.
Oh yeah, texting. Sorry.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I just feel like it's not too big of a deal as long as you're doing something that can further yourself. And with Jess, if it's not school, it's making money to get out of Stars Hollow, which is his goal. And he said that in Teach Me Tonight. And so I feel like, he could be doing way more horrible things. He could be knocking over liquor stores. He could be painting more chalk outlines. He could be doing drugs. He could be he could be a gigolo. he could like do anything, but he's working at Walmart to get money to leave. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so but
I
the
mean-
issue isn't that he's not going to school. If he doesn't want to go to school, that's fine. But he came back to Luke with the promise that he would go to school and graduate. And so if he's not doing that, he's breaking his promise to Luke. And the other issue is that he's lying to people about it. He's telling Rory he's going to school. He's telling, or he's letting Luke assume he's going to school. So that, like, that's fine. If that's not for you, that's not for you. It's really dumb that it's not for him because he is so smart. So if it's so easy, it's easy, get it over with, and then you don't have anything holding you back. Like, but if it's not for you, it's not for you. But don't lie to people about it.
I agree. To build up like this point for a second, like it's really not that easy to go back to school in any sort of capacity, whether it's high school or college or whatever, because like my dad was like, what? He came to the United States and he was like 20, maybe even less than that. And he didn't have the opportunity to go to high school. You know, like he had to go straight to work as a roofer, and he's like 50 now. So it gets hard, you know, and as Mary has pointed out, like it's kind of nonsensical with Jess in this instance, because like he is intelligent and he does understand things very easily. Why is he going through these like hoops to lie and steer away from the plan? You know,
She's 16 years old. I think that's why.
18.
18.
Yeah,
18.
18.
And
Oh yeah, but still, he's a young fellow, you know.
It is extremely difficult to go back to school. I left college with literally needing 3 courses for 2 degrees. And it's just impossible to sometimes to get yourself to go back. So I honestly think that, you know, get it over with and don't leave, because it's really hard to come back.
I disagree, but
Well, I think financially it can be a lot harder to go back to. You know, for the GED, you're usually not really having to pay as much to get that than you would like with going back to college. There's, I feel like, an added barrier for the financial reasons too.
But he also the fact that he is working in Walmart and all this, he also is like portraying a situation about, you know, education and the work thing. I mean, when I saw it, for me was logical in the sense that, of course, you are so like how do I say it? I'm sorry, I am a Spanish speaker. He's like very worried about his future because he's a smart guy. So he tries to make these plans about how to go about it. And obviously you think, oh, I need money. So perhaps it wasn't a good choice, but I mean, that's what he did. And that's something that happens to many people in the world.
Are you trying to say he's being practical? Is that what you meant?
Well, practical, and also I feel that's a concern that happens when you are at that age. Like, you are thinking about education, but you are also thinking that you need money, and it's like a lot of things going on in your mind, and sometimes you just make the wrong choices.
Yeah, but he doesn't really need to lie to everybody about it. I mean, he's 18. If he doesn't want to be in school, if he wanted to get his GED, he could legally do that. But he is lying to everybody he supposedly cares about what he's doing.
yeah, I do think it's an interesting, and Tasha, I am Team Jess, so before I say this, I just wanted to clarify that. But I do think that it puts like an interesting dynamic into the relationship between Jess and Rory. You know, that she's also one of the people that he's lying to about it that doesn't know.
I also think that there's an interesting juxtaposition between that with Jess, and I know that this is a Jess conversation, but you know, I always have to bring in my Dean.
And Dean going to college.
But Dean going to college.
Yeah.
You know, Dean going to college and how that's totally impressive to Rory, and how she's just really excited for him, and that, you know, it's a total. I mean, that's obviously the contrast, like putting that into the episode with that, I think was was deliberate.
Remember that we gotta remember that Justin and Dean are two different people though.
Yeah,
of course. But like, I think that's the thing that John's talking about, because like, they're two completely different people, but they both dated Rory.
Right,
And
they're polar opposites, but
they're polar opposites.
but something.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Sharon, what were you gonna say?
No, it's just that, but they have something in common. You know, they love to butt heads and say the opposite for each other, but when it comes down to it, they have one major thing in common, and it's both having the respect of Rory.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you can go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that like, throughout season 3, there's been all of this talk and stuff, and of course, like we've mentioned it in the remarks group, that a lot of like townspeople, the mom, her best friend and stuff, all have like this kind of just dislike for Jess. Like they don't really vibe with him, they don't really get him and stuff. But like Tasha has said, like Jess is different from Dean. Like Jess is living from New York City. Like he's had a very different upbringing and cultural background. Well, like different background and stuff like that than everyone else in the town. Dean did too, but he's like from like suburbs of Chicago, so he's fine. So anyway, so like that right there is a big thing that kind of makes Dean going to college and Jess avoiding, like not going to school but going to work. Kind of, it does. It's like I kind of get why he keeps it I get why he keeps it a secret, but because I mean, like he wants to stay at Luke so then he can be close to Rory, but also he just doesn't see the importance of school. Okay, get it. But Rory is all about school, very much about like the opinions of other people. Like as what was mentioned earlier when we were talking, Rory is a people pleaser. So I don't know, like a lot of things that Jess does and Jess thinks about and all this times, it just further confirms my point that they were not ready to be together at this time. Like it was cute, like a little fling, but like just like where their heads are at and stuff and their goals and things like that, it's just at this time, it just doesn't seem like it's going to be working.
You're talking about, you were saying it in the past tense as though they're going to be breaking up.
Oh, no. I wasn't saying that. I'm just
kidding.
going off my observational notes on what's going on because, like, Rory could love
kidding.
any man
I
she
know they break up. I know they
Are
break
you sure
up.
that you weren't decapitated before?
What, John? Right? Like, John, what are you talking about? They don't break up. What are you saying? Like,
John, they broke up before you died? Is that what you're saying?
Before I was decapitated.
Hey guys, he's going to be decapitated in season 5. Did I
Yeah.
miss something?
Hey everybody, I this conversation is really great, but I'm gonna have to pop off the.
I was just about to say the same thing.
The baby.
John,
Amanda
one comment
has
about
flash.
Kirk's t-shirts.
Amanda
You gotta
Webb.
tell us what you thought of Kirk's t-shirts before you go.
I thought they were awesome. I want one. I think there's I want to.
Let's see.
Oh, they.
Yeah,
they
they
have
do.
one.
I know how to make.
I feel like
some on Amazon too.
I feel like Sean had one. I want to ask him if he ever got one of those, because that seems like something that the wardrobe department might have been cool with letting people have. Because, for example, I took home a Hep Alien hat and a Hep Alien T-shirt from the scene later, one of the scenes when we're on tour. So I feel like those are probably out there in the world somewhere. You know, I'm imagining maybe Sean has at least one. I'm going to ask him. I really do have to get going. This was a lot of fun, as always.
Have a great night.
I will be back tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. We're going to be doing a double feature. One of those double features is Keg Max, which I remember this episode quite well. It is
I will not be a part of.
You will not be a part of it?
I will,
Oh, wow.
Let me rephrase that. I will not be vying for the couch.
Oh, okay.
And there are
It-
reasons
it-
for that.
I do remember, because I mean, I was there, I was on set, so I watched stuff being filmed, and I do
you
remember
know?
what happens in this scene, so I am spoiled for that. I am excited for it, don't get me wrong.
So you don't know why I'm not gonna be there then, right?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna,
So-
okay.
Yes, of course. So, anyway, I'm out. I'm very excited. I thought this was a really great episode.
Hey, John.
I thought
right-
this last episode this morning was just epic.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
John, I have a quick question for you right before
Yeah,
you
what's
go.
up?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Do you know what happened to Alex?
Wait, Alex, the character that
Billy
Lorelai, that
Yeah, no.
Lorelai dates?
Yeah, what happened to Alex, John?
I mean, please tell me that Alex is still here in the show. I mean, I'm assuming that we'll just find Alex in the next episode.
Carl,
I hope so. I don't know where he is. I haven't seen him for a couple episodes, so I'm just wondering.
Wait, are you
Okay,
just
John,
asking
you
him
can
or
go.
are
She's
you
just,
like
he's
goading
just
him?
razzing you.
I'm just asking, you know, I thought
I'm
about
now you got me in my head. I'm hoping that he's still around, but now I'm starting to think maybe he's not.
Don't forget about Alex, John.
Don't think
I won't forget about it. I like Alex. He's so far he's my favorite. He's so far my favorite. You know, I
Was
was
Lorelai.
Christopher for a while, but I'm not
And
anymore.
I know.
That's
And-
crazy.
And
I'm bouncing my figure, guys.
Yay!
bye bye.
I'm so glad you're not Team Chris anymore.
I'm not Team Christopher anymore. Although I have not. Again, he's not garbage for me. I'm sorry. I still like the guy quite a
I
lot.
didn't
I
follow
just
Chris.
don't believe that
I
he's
just
right.
said I
I
don't
don't believe that he's
want
right for her. But I like Alex, man. I hope that Alex is not gone. Is that what you're telling me, basically?
No, I'm not telling you anything. I'm just wondering where he is. Like,
Just
okay,
his IMDb.
yeah, like I don't know. I
That's
mean,
the point. Why
Did
did she go
the
to
actor die? What are you?
Can you hear me?
I am completely and totally confused right now.
The
God
actor
only
that
knows.
Carl
He
makes
just
a really
busted
good
his
point.
job.
Hello?
Why didn't
All right.
Lorelai go to Alex's house?
Hello?
Yes, Tasha. We're talking.
Yes, you're leaving.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.
Yeah, we heard.
Yeah,
We heard. Have a great night, Tasha.
oh, goodbye, Tasha.
But that's a really good point there, Carl, that I didn't think about. Like, neither Rory nor Lorelai think about going to Alex's house. I wonder why.
But Rory did ask her about what she was gonna do about Alex after she kissed Max.
Yeah, but like in this episode with the fire when she got like unhoused.
That's a
Yeah, like why didn't she go there? All right, I gotta go because this is gonna suck me into the conversation. Further. I really do have to go.
All
I know, right?
You guys are awesome.
Bye,
I'll talk to you
John.
tomorrow.
Bye,
Hopefully there's more
guys.
to talk about with Alex because I
Bye.
hope. All right.